Alright, welcome back everybody. I'm going to start doing these daily uploads, and here is number 2. I've got a simple one for you, just a simple screw retain from an iTero scan, and I'll also go ahead and show you how to create the model. I don't usually create the tissue cast, it's not necessary for these ones, but I can kind of show you how I do that too. I think I've done that in another video, but I'll just go ahead and show you in another one. If you guys could do me a huge favor, flip your phone up, push that like button over here, subscribe, helps the channel move up the YouTube charts, gets all the information out to everybody. That would be wonderful. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. These are the Straumann Vario bases, and you're just going to go ahead and line it up. And obviously you can move this up and make sure it's lined up properly, and it looks good. Huge thing that you want to do on these intraoral scans is to make sure that you have nice contacts all the way around. This looks a little heavy. I checked it before I got into here and it was fine, but you want the blue spots. You got to make sure you have spots there. Otherwise your crown's going to end up in high-end occlusion. So I'm going to go ahead and edit all this stuff out of here because I'm going to print this model. I don't want to print out more stuff than I need to. So we can just remove all this stuff. Let's see, go ahead and delete. So we can delete some of this too. It's just excess stuff. Just want to get rid of. Okay, now we can go ahead and next, and we'll cut intersections. Yes. Go ahead and draw our emergence profile. Hold down the shift key, and you can make it go in a straight line however you want. Or sorry, control key. Kind of mimic the bottom of the crown, how you want it to emerge out of the tissue. You can skip this step if you want, and I used to, but I find it easier to do it this way now. Okay, go ahead and click on our library that I like. I like using the Hermes one for this particular tooth, especially for screw retained crowns. Get everything lined up. Looks pretty good. Alright, don't be afraid to stuff everything up in there. You can always bring it back down in the next step. Okay, now we'll work on our emergence profile. You see this little line right here. Kind of want to see if we can mimic that as closely as possible. That's how I like to do it. Gives you a nice guideline for creating nice tissue contours of the crown coming out. Hold down the control button. Gotta move that crown first. Hold down the control button and you can add another point. Bring it back. Okay. Then sometimes, there we go. Sometimes you have to make it more translucent before it will add the point. Now I got everything the way that I want to. I want to make sure that my margin isn't all jaggedy, and it kind of does a little bit. So I always unstick everything by holding down the control button and clicking on the circle. That does all of them. So now I can manually adjust it. I also want to change this bottom angle right here. I definitely don't like this. So I'll go ahead and change that. Lastly, this margin right here, we want to make this as small as possible since it's going to be one piece anyways, so we don't have any unnecessary finishing down to do. So lastly, I'll just go ahead and try to just make it so it's a nice straight even line. We don't again, screw retain, we don't have to worry about putting the margin below the tissue, so we just leave it as is. You get a nice emergence profile there. Well, oftentimes when designing cases, I'll design it without actually any teeth around. I know I have my contact areas set, that, and then I'll go ahead and just remove them, and I'll add in the antagonist, and it kind of gives you a better idea of how to design the crown a little bit. It gets that stuff out of the way, and also you can see if if you're too bulky in the lingual, way easier than if this crown's in the way. You can see here. So these kind of things I like to do, and then but down the buckle corridor, I'll go ahead and I'll bring the cast back, and we'll just smooth out these little areas right here. Good to go. Okay. If I am going too fast, I apologize. Just kind of I go, or maybe I'm not going fast enough for you guys, and you can use that YouTube button to fast forward the playback option. So let's go ahead and bring this down a little bit. Perfect. We can get rid of the screw channel. Don't need it. Not necessary. We can bring this down here. I'll go ahead and cut this intersection of 0.1 on the static like I always do. It gives me my nice wear faucets, however you pronounce it. You don't need to worry about smoothing anything up right now, just quite yet. Last thing I'm going to do is I'll now put it in the articulator. Where are you? There you are. And since we have canines and nice guidance all the way around on this cast, we'll use the Danar and not use this ramp of the Type A. We'll go ahead and line this bad boy up here using Galway's new system for lining up. It's quite nice. Hold down the control key and it will give you those arrows right here. And then it will only move in that one certain direction. And we'll go ahead and go OK. Cut any more intersections that you might have. And get rid of the protrusion. Click OK, and we'll check to make sure that there aren't any more, nothing in occlusion here. We'll go ahead. Can you shut that door for me, please? That would be lovely. Thank you. I am. Okay, cut, and we'll go ahead and check the contacts. Make this a little bit more translucent so it's easier to see. Go ahead and cut. And sorry guys, we have a lot of fun over here, so we can get loud at times. Lastly, and probably most importantly, the contact areas on screw retains are tough. They can only go in one direction, so using the disc cutter tool is incredibly important. And you can't change the angle. You can change it. You don't want to change the angle of how the discs are right now. You can move them side to side, but don't change distal lingual or distal mesial, sorry. So what we want to do, if you do that, then the insertion direction won't fit. So we want to make sure that we cut, let's get rid of that, cut everything underneath the contact. This one is good. Cut a little bit on top. We'll go ahead and cut here. Now we can kind of move this one distal so we can get that right underneath the contact area. Do a little bit more. Often find most times when designing cases that contact area right there is where everyone always ends up adjusting. So we cut that there. We'll go ahead and adjust, make sure that the contacts again are back at 0. Just real quick, cut. And we are done with this tooth. We'll go ahead and hit next. It will punch the hole. And then we'll go ahead and design a model. This is super simple. Oh, I almost skipped a step. I did skip a step, excuse me. You can always go back. Not a big deal. I forgot to drop my occlusion down. I drop it down at 0.3. 0.35 from the static. If you do dynamic, there is a possibility it'll do like 2, it'll drop down like twice, and you'll go way out of occlusion. So I always do it twice. Okay, that's probably a little light. Alright. Cut. That will go next. Now we'll design the model. Again, this is using Strawman's library, and we will import their analogs, and you can use these to create your model. Dies. Get this lined up here. Everything's good. We already edited this whole model, so we don't have to edit it now. It's probably going to ask me, because this analog is super long, to realign it, which is fine. Then it'll just pop up and you can drop it down until it goes away. Hit next. This is where you can add in the Gingiva Mask if you want. Just click on Mask, Add, and then just do this. Click in the area that you want. You can run it, and then it will create the mask for you, which can be printed if necessary. I don't like doing them, especially on singles. It's not necessary. If it's an anterior crown, I'll do it, but on posterior, I don't need to. So I'm just going to cancel here, and I'm going to remove it, and we'll just continue on. Take a second here, depending on how fast your computer is. I could probably update mine. It's been a couple years now. Sometimes you'll get this flash right here. In order to get rid of that, you can go back and do preconditioned, recalculate, and then what it'll do is it'll just wipe all that stuff out. Any moment now. Okay, there we go. So basically it just uses my Emergence Profile that I created for the whole. Go ahead for the opposing cast. Add that bad boy in there. And then lastly, we'll add some text to the model so we know whose model it is. By the way, guys, if you guys are working on computers all day, these aren't prescription glasses. These are little UV blue light glasses that I use. When you're staring here at the screen all day, it helps avoid eye fatigue quite a bit. And it'll help you in the long run. Go ahead and add another name here. Another cool feature of Galway is these new straight drain hole features, so you don't have to do this in your 3D printing software. It will add the holes for you, which is pretty nice. Saves a lot of time and just does everything much faster. It's a nice cool little trick that they added. If you guys have seen that, it helps strain the resin out if you guys don't know what that does. And we'll punch the holes right there, and we are done with our screw retained crown. Or I could bring that up. You can always go into freeform. I want to bring this cuss tip down a little bit longer. Okay, that'll work right there. Perfect. Done and done. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you guys could pass on the information. Let's get the word out about the channel, and we'll try to start a nice little community here. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you next time.